Okay, so I'm going to be eating my lunch while I'm doing this video. That way I can eat lunch and still get work done. Alright, the truth about metal music. So, a couple of months ago in my speech class that I had, I did a speech on metal music. And it was only supposed to last like 5 minutes was the time limit, but I went on for like 20 minutes almost. And I went through the beginnings of metal, you know, like the late 60s, the 70s, and I did the 80s, and I did the 90s, and through today, they shred. But one of the things I tried to emphasize was, even though Satan is a theme in metal music, most metal musicians don't emphasize, don't say that you should go worship Satan. Because I mean, that's not what it's about, you know. And a lot of people are biased towards metal, like a lot of people are biased towards rap. You have to listen to stuff that's beyond the radio. You know, like go to YouTube or listen to XM or HD radio. Because, I mean, you can't, and this is another thing I try to emphasize, you can't judge a whole genre of music just by stuff that's on the radio, you know, by like 3 or 4 songs. Because if that's the truth, then all rap is just about going to the clubs, getting hoes, sipping on scissor, and hanging out with Shawty or Shorty or whatever the hell. You know, listen to the underground stuff, you know, or the old school stuff. But, and then I also have the Sound of the Beast book, which I bought 2 months ago and I'm only halfway through it. You can tell I'm a big reader because of that. And I really need to finish it. But, it's a good book, good read. And, anyway, back to metal music. So, I explained all the different themes and genres of metal, and pretty much what I said is, well, the classroom was much, much bigger than my room here, but the way I went into it is just the way I thought about it. See this wall here? This is what I did. I just barely scratched it. It's only talked about where metal came from loud distorted guitars. I talked a little bit about Black Sabbath, about Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and the Big Four and thrash in the 80s, and I talked about glam and hair metal, and I talked about Pantera for the 90s, and I talked about stuff that's going on nowadays and with the old school style bands and the bands that are from the 90s that are getting bigger today. I talked about shred guitar, where that came from, you know. And then I told everybody, you know, to put in perspective, to list all the genres, all the bands in those genres. You would have to have like 2 or 3 billboards and like really small print to put everything in there. Because metal is so complex and so big that you just can't judge it based on 2 songs that you heard. You know, and a lot of metal today I really don't like because of the vocalists. You know, vocalists that are singing in like really deep guttural singing style, like it's like, what the hell are you saying? They're literally doing it's like, what the fuck? I don't care how heavy the song is or how cool the song sounds. If I can't understand you, I don't like you. And it's the same thing with the people that are screaming, you know. And this is something I like about Amon Amarth, you know, Johan Haig. He sings in that deep, low voice, but you can still understand what he hears, you know. And when he gets up to the higher pitches, you can still understand them, you know. And then, of course, there's Cannibal Corpse, which I heard Evisceration Plague on Liquid Metal, and I was like, holy shit. That song is phenomenal. I really like that song. And guess what? You can understand him. You know. And that's something else I try to emphasize, you know. Just don't. Anyway, you've heard it all. If you're into metal, then you know all of this. You know, and metal people are the nicest people on the planet. You know, unless we're just having a bad day. But metal music is so great, and it's never gonna go away as long as the fans are still here, because they survived the punk movement in the 70s. And in the book, excuse me. Right now, I'm on the part of hardcore punk, and excuse me, its influence on metal, and metal's influence on hardcore punk. Because in the book, Ian Christe was saying, you know, it's not about whether your hair is spiky and orange or long and whatever. It's about what's in your head. And that's the truth. That goes for all genres of music, really, you know. Like, take country music. It's fallen in the same trap that pop music and rap music are falling into nowadays. Like the other day I saw on People, the hottest guys in country. How about the greatest voices in country music? Oh wait, I'm sorry, you're talking about mainstream country. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, and something else I tried to emphasize was metal isn't about a look, even though it does have its look, you know, leather and denim, you know, and black clothes. But it's not about the look, it's about the state of mind and the mentality you have. It's all about this and this, not about this. You know, Lemmy from Motorhead, he's the ugliest person I've ever seen, but I don't care. Oh, and something else I try to emphasize is that metal teaches us how to be tolerant of other sexuality, i.e. Robert Halford. And I forgot his name. The singer from Queen. I forgot his damn name. Ugh. But anyway, and Elton John too, you know. But that's something else I try to emphasize, that it teaches you how to tolerate. So, but metal music is so great. And so misunderstood and misunderrated, you know. It's horrible. People don't realize that there are more virtuosic talents in metal music than any other genre, except for maybe jazz and classical. You know, I don't think Britney Spears can outsing Robert Halford. And then at my job, these two people are big into American Idol, and I was making fun of them. I was like, yeah, that Adam guy can't outsing Robert Halford, the guy from Nevermore, or Phil Anselmo, or Bruce Dickinson, or Johan Haig. And they're like, who the hell are them people? I was like, exactly my point. You know, and then one of them was saying that, as I was talking to her, and I was like, so yeah, you know who Al Di Meola is? She was like, no. Does he have an album out? Is he on the radio? I was like, well, he has albums out from like the 70s, the 80s through today, and we kept talking. I was like, so do you think that album sales equals talent? She said yes. I was like, that is the stupidest thing ever. It doesn't matter how many copies your album sells, because how many people have heard of, oh, say, Django Reinhardt, or Paco de Lucia, or Larry Coryell, you know. And my guitar teacher, Jerry Gambino, he's a phenomenal guitarist. He can outplay just about basically everybody almost nowadays. But, you know, nobody knows who he is. You know. Oh well. Anyway.